So I'm very happy to be here, to have the opportunity to talk with you a little bit about what we call transformation. So if we are here in the big data track, and data is more and more becoming the product and is more and more becoming business critical and is becoming more and more the driver for new business, let's say business models, then of course there's always the question, how can we secure this network and how can we transform to a company achieving that we have new business models now due to the data that we collect in a secure way. And what I would love to share with you is something that we have walked through. This is our own, if you like, transformation of the exceet group, and this is what we see since we are in the market since 5 years, how our customers and prospects are feeling and having the needs. So just a few words to exceet to make it easy and short. This exceet is a technology firm that provides development, production and services all around, let's say on the edge, intelligent electronics. And I'm here with exceet Secure Solutions, what is an office located here in Düsseldorf that is already, if you like, an outcome of our own transformation. Because what can you do if you have to transform yourself? You have to build new competences, and you can of course start having more and more partnerships to build new competences, and you can of course acquire competences. And honestly, we have 3 business segments within the exceet groups, all overall doing, let's say, in the last year 185 million euros of revenues, split in 3 segments. On the left you see an electronic components segment where all our sensoric and hardware development and services are coming from. We can provide customers like Roche, Siemens, Philips with all required electronic solutions. We fulfill FDA, ULab, harsh environment or automotive needs and requirements there. And we have on the right a business segment that cares all about identities, identity management. And in the middle we have a new business segment that is an output of 2 acquisitions our top management made. The one is here, the exceet Secure Solutions, where I'm from. This is a company that is doing since, let's say, 2 decades business in the IT security market, in the IT solution market, and we acquired in 2014 Lucom, what is, I think, well known for their standard industry routers that are rounding off, if you like, our portfolio. But why did we have to transform, and what does digital transformation mean to us in meaning of exceet, but also in the meaning of the customers and other companies, and how can we realize it? Just wait that she finishes important. Yeah. Yes, Hall X is, I wanted Hall X honestly, it's much cooler, but okay, whatever. So how did we start? How did exceet enter this world of smart connected?
Ladies and gentlemen, please come to room 14 where the presentation has started.
Okay, she's right, yeah, I started.
That's it.
How does she know? Okay. She's connected, I think. But not smart, but anyways. Okay, this is a real customer slide. This is one of the biggest diagnostic firms in the world, and they asked us 5 years ago, our electronic component segment, hey guys, we want to develop something new, we need again your expertise. And then we want to connect all our devices all over the world in 185 countries because we want to know what is our customer doing with it and how is the customer treating it, and is the machine really in Mexico City or is it in Sao Paulo, because honestly we sell it to Mexico but we have this stupid feeling it's not really there. And so and this from really a big firm, we thought this might not be an issue for them, and then we figured out, why am I showing this? We figured out in a, let's say, 6-month workshop that we had, that remote services and all of these well-known use cases are important, but what is much more important to them, it goes from the value add beyond remote services, all this new kind of business they want to create due to knowing what is happening with their machines after they sold it, if you like, when they are on the dark side of the moon, when they are out in the field, what is the customer really doing? There they see a big potential of, well, how can I make money with my data out of this machine? And so this was the first, if you like, lessons learned, or let's say one of the lessons learned we had was that after we did this project, we thought, hey, okay, this was very nice, this was a very, very good project and a nice experience, but we are way too late to jump in and bringing exceet in the position to help other companies how to connect their products, because we thought this is already convenient, if you like, convenience, and everybody has it. Then we figured out that no, that's not true. There are many connected devices in the world, but they are not really behind elaborated business models, and they are not really already in a mature phase where you really have a transformed business with new processes and new service models and business models and all that. So the first learning was that we were not too late. We were thinking 5 years ago we were already too late. No, I've heard the state secretary today and he had some impressive numbers that there are a lot of companies who have no idea how to manage this, these opportunities. And it's true. We are still in a mood or in a phase where many people are talking about it, but it's not really already a standard. And the question is, how can we help these companies? Because this is very important. We have companies and prospects that are on a very good track. They are working out how to, they are changing the organization already. They are installing chief digitization officers. They are changing their segments from whatever to mechatronic segments, and they're already in a kind of a transformation and a kind of a change, and they know already and have ideas regarding the value, but there are many companies out there that still don't really know how can I grab really the value out of the data. And therefore our first learning was, of course technology is key and it's important, but the real added value is important. And what we did is something I think customers have also to do. They have to think about the value, and we created, for example, a team, a discipline that just focuses on benefits of connected machines and of the outcome of such projects. And we did, for example, a benefit study because we wanted to learn. We evaluated around 60 projects in the market, and we were not so much focused on what is the technology behind. We were focused on what is the need and what can one industry learn from another. There are, of course, highly individual processes that just work for automotive, if you like, but there are what we call robust benefits that are, let's say, machine-related, that works for a medtech company as well as for a refrigerator manufacturer. Yeah? There are things that you can learn from another industry, and we wanted to figure out, so how can we help the customer to find his business needs. And of course we have methodologies behind it. I don't want to go too deep in it, but the first thing what I would like to stress is the business value is important. If you don't have the business value and the business models behind such a project, it may happen that this project will never achieve the level what we would call a real serious rollout. And it's a technical play, and it will stay like that. This was the first learning that we made. Another learning is connectivity. Of course, M2M is very much related to carriers, and I can absolutely understand this. But this has a downside. I've been in many talkings with prospects where they say connectivity is not really an issue to me because we have several existing contracts since 5 years and my procurement handles this. We don't think that this is really the right way to work if you want to go out worldwide with your machines into many countries I'm not sure if it makes sense to only stay with one carrier or if you will have a multi-carrier strategy. At the end, anyways, you need a strategy. And we figured out that it might be useful to help the customer to get there. But of course, this is not our core competence. What we do there is partnering. We are partnering with, of course, the carriers and, of course, with platforms that can handle multi-carriers, that we can help the customer to figure out with whom, in which area, for what data, and so on. So this is another thing that I would like to bring here into this room 14. Hall X was not open for me. That we think connectivity is underestimated in a way, and yeah, and we handle it in a way that we partner on that end, of course. What did we figure out as well? Then, of course, something that makes my management very happy, especially the guys in Switzerland. Hardware is still important. Wow, this is really good news for my board, because, of course, the Internet of Things, yeah, says it already. It's the thing is also important. Internet is very, very important, but the things are important as well. What trends are we seeing here? We see more and more. The things are getting smaller and smaller. Miniaturization makes it possible that everything has an ID, everything can communicate. Computing power can be installed in very small devices, and this is our luck. We are since decades capable of miniaturizations. We are, for example, we are in, I think, around 80% of all hearing aids that are implanted under the skin. We are supplying for this. Things, and therefore this is, of course, a good news. Conclusion is hardware and software development skills are merging. This is, of course, not easy for some of our customers. They have to prepare that they need more skills than just the engineering skills. But for us, of course, it was good to know, because this is our home turf, if you like, and this stays absolutely relevant for our business. Another thing is, let's say, one of the most stressed topics is regarding IoT platforms. What we learned is that there are tons of platforms out there. We definitely did not take the decision to acquire one of them. I'm very happy, because I think this is something, you need a real philosophy behind it. I know companies that did acquire IoT platforms, and that makes absolutely sense regarding the rest of their solution portfolio, and you will hear later on one of these guys. And I know that these platforms are very important for every project, but we found out that the customer is struggling. There are so many IoT platforms, and it's not easy to explain, is this an application development platform for rapid application, rapid prototyping? Is this a platform that's more caring about device management? Is this platform next year still on the market or not? And all these questions, we did some studies on that, and we, on that end, decided to go into close partnerings. And I think to have a platform competence, and for us it is a multi-platform competence, is very important to help the customer to find the right way to the right vendor. Okay. And then we have security. We had the press conference half an hour ago, and security was really one of the biggest topics there, and it is in every talking I have with prospects and customers. It is because if you imagine the data is becoming the product, then you definitely must protect it. You must protect it even more maybe than in the past, because the data and the services around your products are now your angle or your USP, asset, whatever, against your competitors. And therefore, security and compliance is one of the main discussed topics, and one of the things we definitely have to help the customers with. And we are talking about secure ecosystems when we talk about security. It is, if you imagine a car is driving around and it's connected, has many sensors, and it's measuring a lot of data. For example, the quality of the street. And this might be a new business model to sell the information about streets quality to cities or whatever. And then is the question, who owns the data? Is it the driver? Is it Exceed Secure Solutions because they provided the solution? Or is it Telefonica because the SIM card is Telefonica SIM card? Or is it PTC because the ThingWorks platform is running all of this? So you have a lot of compliance discussions, even more. So if this is not a private car, if this is a car it's a fleet, and you have the workers' council who says, hey, you are measuring the employee. This is not what I want. So how can we make this in a way that everybody is happy? So we have a lot of new security solutions. You don't want this car to be hacked. You don't want BMW opening the doors to everyone, like happened a time ago. Was not our project, by the way. And yeah, you have a lot of new security requirements. And we were thinking, how can we help the customer to roll out something that is secure, but at the end of the day, not too much of a hurdle that he says, for this much of security, I will not go to this project because then it's too much of a hurdle. And we are thinking about the idea of building trusted ecosystems. We have already several projects running where this trusted ecosystem is in place. I'm not a technician, so I cannot really explain you in bits and bytes what we are doing. What I can tell you is that we built a trusted ecosystem already for the German, if you like, government. I don't know if you're familiar with this German health card, where relevant private health data is stored on a card and you plug it into the card reader at the doctor's office, and insurances are accessing data, and it has to be sure that this insurance is allowed to take your data, and the data is not really there. It's anyways end-to-end encrypted and nowhere stored. This complex security solution has not only been concepted, has also been implemented by us. So we have this experience and we thought, okay, so how can we make, for example, a secure fleet management work? We start with a unique ID at the starting point. Yeah? We're talking about gateways with secure elements with crypto chips on board. However, we're talking about, oh sorry, that was the wrong one. We're talking about a platform. In this use case, it's ThingWorks we're working with, which we have to, let's say, bring in the position to be even more secure than it is today, and yeah, bringing this whole ecosystem up and running that everyone can access with the car, but only the one who should do. So this is kind of a short example how we brought our security competence from a completely different industry, from health to automotive. What I'm trying to say with all these slides is that this digital strategy the companies need is not only a question of changing a portfolio, it's also a question of really having a digital strategy, changing the whole organization, and doing this by focusing on value, and security, and of course the customer experience. At the end of the day, nothing is even worse than something that is not handy for the consumer, so then it will never work. And this is a little bit the conclusion that we made. We have some, we have some place where we can make this, bring this into life, where you can feel it, where you can see it. And yeah, at the end of the day, after 5 years, we are still learning and still transforming, but Exceed has a definitely complete transformed portfolio. And if we talk about M2M solutions, then we have always to think about the innovation part of it, devices, connectivity, platform, security, and the integration into the systems. And this is, I think, the situation that many companies are at the moment facing, that you have to define your value and that you have to transform your business, and it's really not easy. And we are kind of a small firm, if you like, and if you see what we all had to do over 5 years, then I think you can have an idea of what big companies have to do. They are at the moment selling steel and they have processes to sell steel, but if they want to sell data, they have to do completely different processes and implement them, and this is not easy in big firms. And the mid-sized firms, they are struggling because they are looking for standards and for easy and handy solutions. And this is the reason why this whole market is still very much, I think, in a mood. Everybody wants to jump, but yeah, we have not many who are really jumping. And if you want to meet some of the jumpers, then I can invite you to something we call transformation days in Aachen in cooperation with the RWTH Aachen, for example, and where we have some interesting speakers from the industry telling you how they are doing the transformation. So that's it.
On time.
Yeah.
I'm from Avato System, a well-known partner.
Yes.
So about the thing you have shown, I don't really know. So,
Absolutely.
but another thing I face with, I'm dealing around 2 years with Industry 4.0, and what I see is the same thing you said. The customer is very anxious. They don't know how to do, and they have a bad feeling in the stomach, and they say, oh, my data is oil? Oh, very good. I have an oil well. No one have to touch it. I only want to touch it. So how to break the ice? I think it's really a very big thing to get the focus on the service and value, like you said. What I see from many companies, they only stick on their product. And then it will not work. As well as we, as an IT service provider, we almost stick on our products, our services, but we have to rethink things. We have to think new. And this is exactly the way how we have to do it. Because all the things around digital business is not only complex, it's complicated. And complicated things you can't handle alone. You must handle it with partners. And so, thank you again for your speak. It is really the way it must go, or companies has to go in order to be successful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And besides the fact that our companies are already in a deep exchange, if you like, I would love to follow on maybe with the chat later on, because I think it's our job to help these customers with initiatives to lose their fear.